All right, so now I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk about today in this video. And that is peace of mind when it comes to security of my property here. A lot of that peace of mind comes from security cameras. Now I gotta count, I think 15 cameras scattered about. I've got a lot of them sitting on the house, but then I have some other cameras that are scattered about throughout the 10 acres of property that we have. And those are the ones I wanted to talk about today. And actually, I'm looking at one right now. We can see it looking at us right now. Maybe I can pull this footage, say hi. And these are all battery-powered Wi-Fi cameras. I've had them for a few years now, a couple years, 1 or 2 years. And the main reason I got them was for the roadside firewood stand. Right now I have 2 of them out there. They have proven to be very useful. The main use out by the roadside stand is number 1, for in case there's theft some sort, I could get maybe a license plate or something. And number 2 is really a logistical reason. And that reason is being able to tell if I need to go out there and refill. I have a camera situated so that I can see what is actually happening in the roadside stand. Aside from the roadside stand, I've got one here in the wood yard overlooking the garden and the wood yard. They're hanging off a tree, so they're Wi-Fi powered, and also they have a little solar panel on them to recharge the internal battery. But how do I get them to be Wi-Fi. I mean, that's a pretty big range. I think the camera that's out by the road, the 2 cameras that are out there are 400 some feet from the nearest, I guess, the house. And the way I do that is I actually am using a mesh network on my home network here. And that is the TP-Link Omada system. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 access points outside that are creating my mesh network in my yard. And then I have 1 inside the house and 1 inside my shop. I kind of show you where they're at if I can get in a spot. There's one of them. You can see it on the back side of the she shed here. And all that is a PoE powered, basically you could categorize it as a repeater. Basically, it's grabbing the signal from the one that's over by the house over there. On the edge of the house, I painted it brown so you can't really see it, but it's on the end of the house there. The main signal's coming out of that one. That one's connected to the PoE switch in the basement of the house, and it's talking to the one on the back side of the she shed. We call it the she shed. And then from there, the cameras that are out by the roadside stand are getting the Wi-Fi signal. I do have another access point on the front of the shop, and you've probably seen that in this video. If you haven't seen that install, make sure you go check it out here. And that one is basically to receive the Wi-Fi signal from the house. It also emits the Wi-Fi signal on the outside of the shop, but it also sends a signal through Ethernet wire into the shop to another access point that's on the inside of the shop. And that allows me to have really good, fast internet access on the inside of the shop for Wi-Fi calling, internet access, text messaging, anything like that. If I didn't have that Wi-Fi, I would not have really any contact with the outside world, which might be okay at times, but with kids and family and emergencies, it's always good to have that access. The other Wi-Fi access point I have is on the front of the house. Let's get over there and show you. You can see there's a camera right behind me on that tree, and that's pointing at the house as well, so I can keep an eye on the house while we're gone. And I've got one more access point. This one's hardwired as well. And we got it situated on the underside of the soffit here. And that allows us to have internet on this side of the property. And I believe the security cameras that are out by the road also grab on and get Wi-Fi signal from that. So that's my Wi-Fi network using the TP-Link Omada system. I don't even know what you call it, mesh network, TP-Link Omada and mesh network. I've had that installed since 2021, the summer of 2021. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it. It's in the description below. And it's been very, very good. I've updated the firmware. I haven't really had any issues at all since. So like I mentioned then, I've got the cameras scattered about the property. Here's another one hanging from the tree. You can see I've got the little solar panel hanging off the tree, and that's connected to the back of the camera. And the benefit of these cameras is I can control them through the app, and I can rotate them left and right, up and down. They actually have sound and talk capability. So if somebody's standing outside here and I could be on the app talking to them, and that's really beneficial. Number one, it's really beneficial for us when we leave the house and are who knows where. We could be anywhere in the world, and we could remote back in. As long as we have internet here at the house, we can remote back in and check on things on the house and make sure everything's okay, everything looks okay, make sure we left the garage door shut when we left, things like that. We can just remote in and check on things. That's one of the main reasons we have these cameras scattered about the property. We can just check on things when we're gone. We also have cameras on the house looking out, and those are actually owned by, well, they're night owl cameras, and I am seriously considering redoing those. They're old technology, only powered cameras. There's no sound. There's no sound back and forth. There's a hardwired DVR And honestly, the app that we have is pretty dysfunctional at times. It doesn't work as awesome. So I'd like to upgrade the cameras that are on the house to the Reolink, most likely PoE cameras that are out there. And those would really integrate nicely with my Synology network attached storage that we have. Synology has a nice app that you're able to connect into security cameras and partition a little bit of your network attached storage for basically your DVR. I'll take you out by the roadside stand so that we can see the cameras that are out there. Now I've got 2 of them out there right now, and one of them is primarily for security, just keep an eye on the people that are actually buying the firewood. And the other one is primarily for me being able to check in on the roadside stand and make sure that it's full. If I'm in the house in the basement and I can look, or let's say we're camping elsewhere in the area, I can come home, I can dial into the camera from my phone, check on it, and I see, hey, we got a lot of bundles sold. I can come home quick and refill the firewood stand, or I can call somebody, say, hey, can you come and fill the roadside stand for me? All right, there's one camera that's out here by the roadside stand, hanging off the tree. I used to actually have it on the other side of the driveway with the old roadside firewood stand, hanging off that far left red pine there. But now that we moved it, that camera would really provide no value for me, aside from being able to keep an eye on people parking here, getting the firewood. But the real value of that camera is to be able to see the backside of the stand, to see if there's any firewood missing, or if I need to get out here and refill it. I should probably trim some of these little pine trees that are growing up so that I can see it better. And then the other camera is right out here in this birch tree, and it's pointing down directly on anybody that's gonna be viewing or getting firewood. You can kind of see what it's looking at. I should probably move it to the other mount. I had 2 cameras up there when we had the pumpkins out here for sale this fall. Now I've only got 1. I probably should move it to the other mount there. That's what's nice about these, they're interchangeable. If one goes dead, I can charge another one up and put it in its place and bring the other one in the house and get it charged up. Now, I do want to talk about the negatives or the downsides of these cameras. And the main one is just the battery life. Well, it's more about, as you see, I'm surrounded by trees here on this property, and where I want to put cameras, they don't always, especially out by the roadside stand, they don't always work that great for the sun to reach that mini solar panel to recharge it. So especially the ones out by the roadside stand, there's many times that I have to actually, like I mentioned earlier, have a couple extra laying around, extra cameras. It's like they're not cheap or anything, but I have 2 extra cameras that aren't actually just, placed anywhere in the property, and I can keep them charged. And when one's going dead out by the roadside stand, I can actually go and just replace it and put the charged one out there and bring the not charged one in the house and get it charged. I mean, the solar panels in the shade do get a little bit they do provide a little bit of power to the camera, so they don't die like fast, but they do die slowly over time. Another one that I've had trouble with keeping charged is this one, but now since this tree is coming down, I think it's getting more sun than it used to, so this one has stayed charged for a good amount of time. The one that's out there by the wood yard, the one that's by the house, the 2 that are by the house, I really haven't. The one that's by the house right here, I've never had to replace. It's been up there since day 1. So that's what I do to increase my peace of mind when we leave the house for an extended period of time, or even during the day. My wife and I can jump on the app, dial into these cameras and check on things, check on the dogs, check on the house, check on whatever's going on. And when we're gone for really extended periods of time, I set a couple up inside the house or in the shop just to make sure everything's going good inside of there. Now, if you haven't seen the Wi-Fi internet mesh network setup that we did, you should probably go check it out here.